All right, everybody, willkommen im Lagerroom. Jersey Johnny coming at you. And what are you eating? Jersey Johnny coming at you with me as always. Another Mr. Beer Samurai. Say hello, Mr. Samurai.
And the beer.
Mumble hello, Mr. Samurai.
Hi. Eating a pretzel because you know where I am.
I know where you are. You are in Munchen.
Munchen,
Bavaria,
Bayern.
area.
Deutschland.
Right. Deutschland, yes.
Deutschland. But I had the values wrong too.
There you go.
But we're here
in Munich, Germany, and our guests are right on the show. No green room today.
No green room because I'm right in the tap room today. He's live. Yes, we're all live. I hope we're all live.
Yeah, we are all coming live here. I didn't put this up. We are live from Munich, Germany. There you go.
And we are live from Higgins Ale Works.
Higgins Ale Works, coming at you live from Higgins Ale Works. And please welcome to the show straight out of the gate, Jen and Paul Higgins from Higgins Ale Works. There you go.
There you go.
All right. Cheers. And you're drinking already. So, all right. Dave, why don't you make the introductions to everybody? And I'm going to pour my first beer because I'm a little thirsty. There you go.
So, well, first let me tell you what we're drinking because I think it's really funny that
I was going to say, you want to introduce them first or start with
you just did it, didn't you?
Well, if you wanted to give them a little back end, so you're drinking.
Oh, so you want to do? Okay, I know what you're. Nothing here is planned, scripted, or anything, as you can tell. So, Paul,
it's planned and scripted, but we loosely stick to it. That's the difference. So,
no, it's never planned or scripted, and even were we. So
that's the beauty of the show.
Paul and Jen Higgins. Well, sort of.
Yeah, Mrs. Higgins.
We'll go with Mrs. Higgins. From Higgins Ale Works. We are on, what's the name of the Strasse here? Karlstrasse. I can see it right there, actually. We are sitting in the shadow of the Spaten Brewery. Spaten. We can see it. We can see the S and the P because the A, T, E, and N have burnt out. But they're right there. And Spaten is part of Lowenbrau, and Lowenbrau is the other side of just down the street. Yeah, so we're in the shadow of two of the largest breweries in all of Munchen, and this is a craft brewery.
And it's a craft brewery.
So I'm sitting in Germany, and I'm drinking English ale, in English pale. What do we call this?
English pale to a bitter ale. We have a little bit more carbonation in this for the local German market rather than the English market.
Would you call it English table beer then instead, or
it could be? I'd say more like a bitter or English pale ale. Yeah.
Now, the one thing you're noticing from our guests from the U.S., you're not detecting much of a German accent. Neither one of them, and this is why. I'm sitting in Germany drinking an English beer, talking to two people who own a brewery in Munchen, who are from New Jersey.
There you go. And I just found out that Jen, you and I are related. I'm Jersey Johnny, you're Jersey Jen. I mean, like, you know.
And Johnny, I'm sure we've got second cousins.
Absolutely.
The thing is, he is half German.
All right.
I am.
We don't know which half yet.
I'm not. Well, it's been determined a couple of times, but it goes back and forth.
Yeah. Very nice.
My father's German. My mother was Italian. So, and there you go. Yeah. What do you? So, what is the name of that? Is there a name of that English pale?
If you can read back there, but we'll let Paul tell you.
I was gonna say I got a feeling Paul actually knows what the name of it is without reading it.
Actually, Jen,
yes,
I drink all the beers, so he sometimes doesn't know. We call this one Glam Rock.
Glam Rock. There you go.
Glam Rock. A little nod to the Brits.
Yeah, and it's basically a 4.6% alcohol English ale. We could almost say a bitter, except for the carbonation is a bit higher for our local market. For drinkability here, what they're used to, we do stray from the styles a little bit in the guides to keep the market interested. And but this beer, it's made with Maris Otter, a pale malt. We've got Abbey malt to add some color. We've got two Simpsons crystal malts in here to add the nice color and give it a little more body and
nice
feel. And then the hops are all English as well. And I know we're starting with an English beer. It's not we don't do this style of beer all the time, but we thought it's something different because we're trying to introduce beers, something other than the Helles and lager beers. But the hops are Nugget from France, actually, Challenger, Brambling Cross, Jester, and East Kent Goldings. Mostly
Nice.
good charge of East Kent Goldings.
There were a bunch of hops in there we don't see too much in the U.S. or their job.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
And we used English ale yeast.
Very
This
nice. Very nice.
I love this. Is really delicious.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Delicious.
Very nice.
And so we're only doing top fermenting beers, mostly top fermenting beers here in Munich, since we're sitting across from at least 2 to 5 million liters of lager.
I was going to say, there's enough of it around you. You can
Yeah.
you can defer a little.
Felix is different.
Yes.
Exactly.
What I'm getting now is we do this on the show all the time. We'll check in on Untapped during the show.
Oh,
Sometimes we've got to take what do we call the obligatory.
I took my obligatory picture, my first one.
Were you
already.
already done with this?
I always now see
It's
Dave.
hot.
Dave is true. He always checks into Untapped during the show, which is fine. That's great.
He just takes the picture.
I just take a picture. I check in later. So we have a.
Tap for the first time on Saturday,
Yeah, it's not on there.
and nobody answered it yet, including me.
There you go. Very
Oh,
nice.
you can call him, do it.
We have a comment on here from Worldwide Beer Fest up in Washington. It's Kat. Hello, friends. I haven't had a beer since Saturday. That all sounds delicious, and now I am really thirsty all of a sudden.
You know,
Kat,
I
I would imagine you would be, Kat.
She hosts a beer festival, and there's
Online.
a lot of, online beer festival, but also there are some live events as well. And there's classes. A lot of it is how to use social media for brewing. A
Oh,
lot of it.
that sounds.
It's really wild. It's really what she does. It's awesome. It's awesome.
So the
I'll
event,
check that out.
the event just got over a few days ago. So I don't know. You think she's still hungover?
Well, if she hasn't had a beer since Saturday and it's Tuesday, I'm going to say that yes, she is a little hungover still. Although I think we just broke her hangover by making her thirsty. So anyway,
Well, what is that? Campanile told us the best way to detox is to retox.
retox. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And speaking of beer, you three are in Germany drinking German brewed craft beer. Okay. I am in the United States drinking United States brewed German beer.
Ah.
Well,
All right.
you're drinking.
So I have three. My first is, I'll throw the crawl up because I have the crawl for me. It's from Urban Chestnut Brewing, Schnickel Fritz.
No, Schnickel Fritz.
Oh, good choice.
There
Urban
you go.
Chestnut,
Oh yeah.
They have a brewery here as well, of course,
Yep.
in Bodenbach, in the Hallertau region, and they're making some great beers. And I'm
Urban Chestnut.
to the U.S. side.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Urban Chestnut's great. And they're in St. Louis, obviously, the U.S. brewery, obviously. So there you go. So I think I speak for all of us when I say Prost.
Roast.
Close.
Some
Roast.
Some bull.
Some more there.
Mhm.
There
The
you go.
Austrians close that one.
There you go. Yeah.
Oh, it's product placement.
Product placement. There you go. And I'm kidding.
It's a local brew works class.
But if you're gonna have a lager beer, it's nice to have something other than the big 6 commercial brewers. They're good here, but
Oh
the
yeah.
smaller breweries can be much better.
I can. And then when
we're in Vine Stefan.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We show this one mural they have, and it's very stylized. It starts with the farmers, then you've got the guy with the grain, then you have 2 vat brewing system. Then there's a guy with barrels, and it's going to a table where they're drinking it. And there's a guy with his back, and his hands in front of him. His back's to you with his hands in front of him. And he goes, "That's what we call beer return." I said, "That's what we call making Budweiser." So, and yeah, we have no qualms about bragging on the big beer.
Oh no, that's good.
Not at all.
Now, you mentioned Lowenbrau before. That's one, like, I mean, look, all big beer, I include Lowenbrau with like Budweiser by any means, but those commercials, U.S. commercials back in the day, with like Lowenbrau was one of the classic ones, the jingle. For,
Yes.
you know,
Oh, yeah.
Let It Be Low and Brown. You know, here's to good friends. Tonight is kind of special. But anyway.
Is that here? Or?
No, I
I
don't
don't
think
think they ever did.
No, it was only in the U.S.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it is funny that we are right across the street from it, or right down the street. Wasn't planned, but
And there you
We
go.
love the irony of it.
yes.
It's great. It's awesome. It's wonderful. Let's throw one more comment up from Worldwide Beer Fest. Our favorite 3 German beer styles are, these are hers. You know what, Kat, I'm going to save these for the end. There we go.
Yeah, it's
No, when we do it, I'll throw yours up. So if you're still on, comment back again. If not, trust that they'll be put up, and obviously it'll be up for the replay on and all the audio podcasts. Anyway, all right.
Temperature calculation right there.
I didn't read it before I put it up. So I read it. I'm like, oops, let me take it up, but I didn't say it, so there's no audio of it. But in any event, all right. Let's before we get to the first question we usually ask everybody, and I'm sure Dave's alerted you to that already. Let me just ask you. Let's just go back to the whole the two of you.
Just watch the beginning of some of our shows. She knows what the first question is.
Well, there you go. I'm gonna skip ahead, and I'll come back to that in a minute. But let's talk about your Jersey roots, for a moment. When how long have you been over in Germany? Let's start there.
20 years now.
20 years. Wow. Very nice.
I was born in Cape May County, Wildwood. We had a place every summer, and my parents are from Philadelphia area.
Your what? Your favorite what?
My parents were from Philadelphia.
Parents were from the Philly area. I got you.
And we've lived in Florida and Jersey, and also I've lived in Pittsburgh and other places.
Gotcha. Love going out to Pittsburgh too.
We'll both be in Pittsburgh in July, just not at the same
We'll be
time.
passing each other on the Pennsylvania Turnpike at some point.
Pretty much.
And Jen?
I grew up in Merchantville and Medford, so half and half.
There you go.
And then the last residence that we had before we moved here was Haddonfield.
There
So
you go.
I've been only in Jersey and here. I'm not as nomadic as Paul.
Well, there you go. And ironically enough, there's in Medford, the 4th brewery in Medford is being built right now.
I know. I was just there at Christmas time, and I was so shocked. I mean, first of all, where Kings Road is, that was a granary. That was a place where we used to go get our animal feed for the horses and stuff. And so I was standing in Kings Road, that's now a brewery, and then there's a coffee roastery there, and there's a restaurant there.
The coffee's really good. The barbecue is pretty good too, next to it too.
That's really good. They've done a great job there. I think it's. We also went to Farm Truck.
Yep.
And then they told us about the new one that was being built down the road, but we didn't see that one.
It was just down the road from Farm Truck, about half a mile down the other side of the street is Lower Forge.
All right, Lower Forge, right? Yeah.
And then they're building Magnify. It's the second location for Magnify. Magnify is from North Jersey.
It's amazing. I mean, Main Street is not that big, but
no.
Plenty of room for all.
And there's not too far away. There's a bunch of other breweries. If you just, was it about 10-15 minutes up to Mount Holly, and you got 3 breweries in Mount Holly.
Yeah.
And
so
then, even more surprising, in New York Times, I read about a winery that's starting.
Oh yeah. In Medford.
Near
it was right behind where we used to live.
Yep, you're right. Absolutely. Yeah, they opened that too. Yeah, so it's
really
all up everywhere. It is.
Yeah.
Go Medford.
There you go.
Well, we're going to be seeing more and more breweries opening after the law changes in Jersey.
Yes.
We were starting to lose some breweries because of it, but now the law's changed. There, some of the ones that were thinking about leaving, they're going to stay. And we'll probably see more and more breweries open up.
And that law's just gone into effect, right?
When did it go into effect, John?
Right away in January. It's been in effect since January.
Okay.
Yep.
So, Kat put up. It sounds like an interrogation, huh? So serious, John. You'd make a great detective.
Yeah, the Jersey's come a long way. When we lived in Haddonfield, that town was dry.
It was dry. Yeah.
Now there's King Road, and it's just crazy the changes that occurred in 20 years. I never thought I would see it.
And I was going to say that too. Hey, you were in Kings Road in Medford, and in Haddonfield, there's
we've been there too.
Kings Road. Exactly.
Awesome. It's great.
But
very proud of those
so many.
We had the Illuminati visit.
Oh,
luminary. Wrong word.
Illuminati.
Maybe wrong word.
And it's
Like
much
Governor Murphy here. Governor Murphy came to our tap room last year.
There you go.
He supports Jersey businesses wherever he is.
And wait, who was that? Oh, who? I missed that.
Governor Murphy.
Governor Phil Murphy.
Oh, he was.
He was here.
Wow.
He stopped in while he was visiting Munich. It's great.
He's not. I don't think he's quite off the New Jersey brewers shit list quite yet.
He's a little lower down on it. He's lowered himself a little bit, but anyway.
It'll be a little sometime before it's forgotten. But.
Exactly.
It's one thing to, a politician, it's a pretty hard job, but to look where Jersey came from 20 years ago when we left, I never thought I'd see a brewery in Haddonfield, or we used to just do bottle shops, and it's a slow process. And we know that
there was five.
Even slower.
There was five. I think it was five production breweries in New Jersey 20 years ago. There was there was Flying Fish, there was River Horse,
yes,
Climax, Ramstein, and Cricket Hill.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
And
so politics are not quick, unfortunately.
No, it takes a bit. Takes a minute. But another comment I got for you off of YouTube, MP-S says P&J, see you soon.
Who said?
MPS.
She's on her way over here in 2 weeks. We'll see you soon. Right. We're putting her to work in the tap room as soon as she gets off the plane.
Oh, excellent. So. She's from the States?
She's from Hatfield.
There you go.
There you go. All right.
Probably Kingsburg.
There you go. Yeah, probably. All right. So let's get into it. Who wants to go first? Let's start with Jen. What was the first craft beer to the best of your recollection that you ever had?
The first craft beer I ever had was yours.
It can be craft-ish. It doesn't have to be,
It would have been Paul's homebrew.
That's
perfect. It was a
perfect.
porter.
There you go.
Homebrew porter. That's got to be the first time we've had a homebrew as the first for that answer, John.
Well, I mean, this is going back in the 90s, and there was not an abundance of craft beer to be found. I'd say the first craft beer brewery that I went to that really stuck in my mind as a destination, we were in Denver. We went to see your brother, and we I forget which one it was.
I've heard that Denver has a couple of craft breweries.
Yeah, I mean, it was
just a couple.
I was very I was blown away by what beer could taste like.
Yeah. That's usually how it happens.
Mm-hmm.
This is true. Absolutely. All right, Paul. I'm gonna be even more shocked if you say that the first craft beer you ever had was that same beer.
No, I have the typical homebrewer roots of we had tasted something from overseas, either Guinness or Lambics and Belgian beers. But the one that probably sticks in my head the most as a craft beer brewery was the Dock Street in Philadelphia in the 90s. And that was, quite a inspirational brewery for me at the time.
Very nice.
To see something like that happening in Philly.
Yeah. I remember going there.
I would have lost money on this. I would have bet that would have been Yingling. But
we were Yingling drinkers back in the day. Yeah.
We drank a Yingling out of something different than the Budweiser.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was what a Yingling for me was. And then when you came to Europe and started drinking beers that were, frankly, the first time, this isn't beer. It's not what I was told was beer, the Budweiser and the Coors and the Millers. Yes. So, yeah, but Yingling was a nice alternative. Black and Tan even.
Oh, yeah.
Black and Tan.
Oh, yeah. Even the regular Yingling Porter, obviously, what they use in the Black and Tan with their premium is the port alone is really good. But all right, Dock Street. I remember going to Dock Street back in the day. That was fantastic. You remember which one that sticks out in your mind as far as which style? Not necessarily the name of it, but like which style at Dock Street? Like
it would have been. The amber.
Put you on the spot. There you go.
No, at this time the IPAs were still not even really there yet on the East Coast. It would have been more the amber ales, maybe a wheat beer, something getting a little hoppier, and the pale ales were just starting to get a little bit hoppier. And in fact, even today, we've got an amber ale on tap, and it's one of these throwback beers from the 90s, where you had maltiness but some bitterness, and occasionally the brewer and I brew as well, like to bring out some of these older styles that we cut our teeth on in the older days.
Sure.
So we still, even this English ale, this would have been something where we were starting to get experimental with more hops, and generally at that time the hops were from the East Coast, European origin, some Saz and English as well. So the more florally kind of pale ales were what I remember the most, and really that floral pale ale, which when I looked at my old recipes were like Saz and some of these Czech hops and Hallertau hops. So
Sure.
You mentioned your brewery. You want to give Bob a shout out?
Oh, Bob is also our brewer. He's from California. Bob London from Sacramento.
Sacramento.
So East Coast, West Coast.
There you go.
Fights all the time.
East meets West.
Hazy versus traditional IPA. So
There you go. You got to brew a really, really, really hazy, juicy, super resiny beer, and then that
Yeah, we did the West Coast.
we would like to, but that's one of
challenge
those
accepted. Right now, no, I'm kidding. Or just
That's
forget
right.
about juice. Just make a really, really just put a ton of flaked oats and wheat in a high alpha bomb. See how that works.
Yeah, it's coming here. It is here now, but our first hazy New Englands were actually not so hazy. We put some caramel malts in them just to bring our audience up to speed of.
Now, if you did a hazy with the flaked oats, you could not call it beer then, right?
That's true. We're also mostly Reinheitsgebot, the German purity law.
Mm-hmm.
We
Thanks
used
to these guys.
we use oat malt and wheat malt, obviously Weizen malts. Hafermalt, we'll use rye malt, so everything's malted. And if we do use flaked oats, which occasionally we do for some beers, sometimes due to supply, we can't get them at the moment, then we don't call it beer. We call it alkoholtisches Getränk auf Malz Basis. Alcoholic drink from a malt basis.
Say that fast 3 times.
Exactly. Malt liquor.
So
There
we
you
do mostly abide by the rules,
90% of the brew is in the purity.
which is fun. I mean, when I listen to podcasts from the U.S., craft beer brewing, and I hear all the tricks that everybody's doing there, and I can't do that. So it is another box that we're in, but it's also a challenge to be producing beer within some of these rules. And we can make a really hazy, hoppy beer, and our customers come in and argue, it's like, that's not beer, it's not.
You've got fruit in there. What's in there? We just
But
have
it's not,
hops,
it's the hops
yeast,
and,
and malt.
Right.
so it's fun. It's really fun to work with the audience and explain, and it's a lot of explaining here,
I got
which
you.
is fun.
Which is great. Yeah. Have you ever used any other adjuncts in beer at all?
Yes, we do. We make a pumpkin beer every year for Halloween.
Well, there you go.
For Jersey.
Pumpkin malt liquor.
Pumpkin malt liquor. There you go.
Malt liquor, exactly.
And that's a novelty here. I mean, pumpkin, people go crazy for pumpkin beer here because they can't get it.
Yep.
So when we make it, people pre-order it.
Wow.
And it's gone practically right after we released it. So
Kind of like pumpkin beers used to be before everybody here in the U.S. before everybody and their mother started making them.
I keep saying it's like 1999 here in the craft beer timeline of
Which
the
is
US.
which is fine, yeah.
So we're
Which
in
is
the
like
time-
almost perfect time actually.
Mhm.
Because there's some experimentation going on, but there's good solid styles still being had.
But it's
And I think
really-
we're kind of getting back to that in the U.S. too, because I got to tell you, I don't know how much you've talked to Dave about it, but it's been obviously you come back here and you see what's going on, right? but it's IPA, hazy IPA. It's you walk into breweries, there's 24 beers on, 22 of them are IPAs, right? There's a push now. It's a big lager push now. Everybody's making lagers, and they're making fantastic liquid too, and it's crazy, and I'm loving every minute of it.
Yeah,
So,
it's really a funny movement from where we came from.
Yeah.
In the 90s to going back to, I mean, lagers
Right.
are hard to make.
It is
What's-
hard.
yeah. What's old is new again. It's like a circle.
It's like what we like to do is when we go to a brewery for the first time, if they've got a Pilsner or a lager on, we're going to order that first.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the reason we do that, if that's good,
You know,
then you can try something else.
Mhm.
If that's bad,
Right.
none,
It's hard
because you
to-
can't hide behind.
You can hide a lot of things in an IPA. You can't hide pretty much anything in a
You
pill.
can't hide behind hops and adjuncts.
Good.
So order that first. If that's spot on, hold it. Just keep going.
And Kat just chimed in again. She says, "We just saw 2 light clear beer fest announced. We agree, there is a trend, absolutely."
Yes.
And again, Kat, I'm loving every minute of it. I think I've told you that, Kat. I'm loving every minute of it.
Yeah.
And Brian Alt just toasted from YouTube. Cheers, Brian.
That's such a goofy picture there, Brian.
And,
Yeah. He's never watched on YouTube before, has he?
he's never watched YouTube before. Yeah, he's watching for some reason on YouTube. Yeah, so.
Yeah, that's weird.
Right.
Well, we get to see that his profile.
Yeah, the lager trend is really interesting to watch in the US, and I think it's great.
It's growing.
And from a production side as well, lager, even for us, it's a challenge because the tank time that you need.
The residency is just it's you could and you wind up selling them for you can sell IPAs for more money and take less time to brew them.
Yep.
You can brew 2 IPAs in the time you can brew 1 good lager, and the 1 good lager you got to sell for lower than you sell the IPA for. So that's why you're absolutely right. It's a challenge, And then
We're seeing more and more lager tanks in American breweries now.
Yes.
let's just say you force yourself to buy the horizontal lagering tanks, right? Because you're not gonna fill them with an IPA. They're for lagers. So hey, it is. Because you buy a conical, right? You buy a conical and you say I'm going to use it for lagers, and then you realize I could still brew IPAs into this and still make more money. So get the horizontals, then you're forced to make the lagers. I'm going to pour my second beer.
We're working on our second.
Yeah,
beer.
Jen's back at the taps pour. You can see
There you go. That's awesome. I'm pouring mine.
What are you pouring there, Johnny?
I am pouring again another American brewed German beer, German style. It is. I gotta take I'll put the crawl up here. It's from Heater Allen Brewing in McMinnville, Oregon, and it's Heater Allen's Dunkel.
Oh, Heater Allen.
Heater Allen Dunkel.
You're
There you
doing
go.
some good stuff.
Right.
I just had a Heater Allen recently. What do we?
Do you have the pills?
I think it was the pills. It was the pills. May have been the Hellas.
Could have been either. I have a pill. I just got a pills in my Tavor box. More on that when we do the 14th of May show.
Yeah, In that show, we're going to be talking about
Exactly.
mail order beer.
Yeah.
It's huge right now. It's been for a while. What's the beer you're drinking?
Okay, next beer. This is called Alpental American Pale Ale, with a few modifications from America, not American. It's basically our middle of the road pale ale. It's made with pale malt, local from a local maltster. We got our pale ale malt from Rhone Malts. We've got Wiener malts in there, Wiener malts, and some wheat malt as well. Carapils, acidulated malt, because we can't just use acid because of the Reinheitsgebot, so we have to use the acidulated malt.
Mm-hmm.
And the hops are a Hercules again for bittering that we get from a local farmer. We get it dried from the farmer, and it's whole hops. In fact, we have some here, which you can't smell it, but it's
Put up
there. We've got
hey, John.
Yes.
I'm going to take this. I'm going to do this. And
French.
make you jealous.
Can I smell your hands? No, I'm kidding.
And we've got some French nugget in there, just a very little bit. We've got German Amarillo. So this is the funny part about the American IPA, but Amarillo grown in Germany, and some Goldings and Centennial. So we often do a mix of American or Australia, New Zealand, Australian hops with some German twists to give a little bit of a root to Germany,
Sure.
people what they're familiar with. And so this is one of these examples of a pale ale. It's not overly hoppy. It's a little bit herbal,
Terrible.
a little bit spicy.
What's the overall flavor profile of the German Amarillo? Like, what's the terroir of the soil that they're?
It's not as punchy as the American versions.
Okay.
A little bit subdued, and we find that with a lot of the German hops. We use German Cascade often, and it doesn't have that huge push. It's nice, but everything is a bit softened on the German side. And Germany was traditionally growing. Okay, all the noble hop strains are coming from mostly Czech and Germany and England, and those hops were cultivated more for their beer styles here, which were the lager beers. So these noble strains go back, and they weren't focusing so much on the way the U.S. has been focusing on more fruity varieties and aroma hops for the last 30 years. They are now. We've got Mandarin of Bavaria, Hallertau Blanc, some of these new varieties that have come out in the last decade to try to fill that need. But they're still great hops. We love to work with them and pair them with some of the U.S. and Australia hops. So
Nice.
This is
Very
lovely.
nice. That's awesome.
Lovely.
Yeah, what are you getting out of that, Dave? How you tell me about it?
Well, he's
Yes, Prost.
everything that he said, absolutely. Almost, it's for me. I'm getting some little citrus out of it as well.
citrus,
Yeah, there's some citrus in there, and actually, I got it first on the nose. But one of the beers I had yesterday, like that was all Centennial on the nose. But then when you got into it, the rest of the hops really kind of worked with it.
Yeah, there's
That was the elevation.
a Centennial in here, and Centennial is not playing a major role with this one. And we've also have a new hop we experimented with, HBC 638 in this beer, in addition in the dry hop. So this is one of our standard beers, but sometimes we'll play a little bit with the hop or two.
John's got a goal in life. He wants to be able one of these days to choose the commercial name for an HBC.
All right, that's a great goal.
That's his
Well,
goal.
just one. I don't know. Not many. Just one.
And then the other thing we're all often working with our beers are mouthfeel. We're using the Weizen malt to give it a little more body and a nice feel for the customer. Even we have a Weiss beer drinker who really likes this beer because it reminds him of a Weiss beer, at least the body. Some of it, it's full, a little bit more carbonation.
But the body's not that different than an APA. Right? It's still, yes, there's a little more, say more creaminess to it, but slightly, not like Elevation, which has got a bunch more creaminess than you usually get in a West Coast IPA.
Right.
This has got just a tad, but other than that, it's very close to an APA body style. And this is delicious, John.
There you go. You're making me. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm enjoying the beer I'm drinking, but I'm
sure you're.
I can get these here.
Yes,
I can't get that here. But all right.
We'll bring some back for you, John, next time we come back.
There you go.
There you go. Yes, thank you. And you got it. Yeah, we'll talk more about it after we're done with the show. But you got to let me know when that's going to happen too.
We'll talk about smuggling later.
After the show, yeah, off the record. Anyway, so when did you moved over to Germany? You said 20 years ago. When how long have you had the brewery open? Yeah.
2018.
Yeah, commercially about 6 years now. Before that, we had the same space. It's in an old bakery across from these big breweries. This is really the old brewing quarter of the city, one of the original ones.
And we just got lucky. I got thrown out of the house from home brewing at home because somebody didn't like the smell. Or
Come out from business trip. It looked like Breaking Bad in the kitchen. I said, yeah, I'm not.
The times that you had to descale the stove.
So we found, Jen found this hobby space, and the bakery has the facilities. It's tiled. We had to renew a lot of it for the hygiene. And then we took over different parts of it. But for 3 years, I just homebrewed in this
One room,
space.
yeah.
And it has everything a home brewer would love. A gully, you could just spray a hose wherever. And of course, we tested the water and the facilities and would it work. So now we're a small production brewery, 250 liters per batch on average, sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on the gravity. And now that we have the tap room for 2 years now,
The anniversary's coming up too.
The anniversary's the 27th of April.
Yes.
There we
Second
go.
anniversary.
So we're mostly just feeding the tap room, brewing once a week,
Sometimes twice.
sometimes twice, just to produce enough beer for the tap room. We also can. Oh, we don't even have a shameless advertising can.
Oh,
I can get some.
You got to get some.
But we do
Their logo
Not
is so
far
cool,
away.
John.
we started only to serve beers in kegs, sell beer in keg for the few craft beer bars here and events.
This is like 2019.
Yeah, so
20.
it was really a new product we weren't the first, but there
Right.
were really hardly any at this time.
Craft brewers.
And really a brewery with an actual brewery in the city. There was maybe 3 or 4. Giesinger being the biggest one.
Right.
And then some other smaller ones. And then the pandemic came, which forced us to bottle or can.
Package, yeah.
We have to give a shout out to Oscar Blues. We did torment the Oscar Blues people when they were here for a fair over 5 years ago, 6, 7 years ago. And we bought their canning machine for crowlers. So we were the first in Germany to have a crowler.
Oh, wow.
But they were hard to get in Germany.
Well, if you're the first in Germany to have a crowler machine, I would imagine it would be difficult for you to get crowler cans.
But not the cans were more difficult. But we still
Get a little closer.
we still fill these, and we have the screw top version.
And you have the screw top on them instead of the pop because they
Makes it very
definitely.
easy. And if a
Absolutely.
customer wants to keep it clean, we will refill a crowler. And there's really nobody in Munich or probably most of Germany filling crowlers or growlers anymore. But we will, of course, why not? If it's clean, of course.
We started a crowler club too, so people can come back and, as long as they're in good shape, we refill them, and on the 5th one they get a discount.
So the
I saw you do the stand earlier.
Yeah.
So the pandemic took us in a different direction. We hadn't quite anticipated. It made us change it, as it did for everybody. Good or bad, but it did help us get a different customer base. And people were aware, a neighborhood brewery in their neighborhood, they were quite excited about it.
It's the only thing they had to do every weekend was come and get their cans filled from us. They had nothing else, no other reason to leave the house.
Yeah, really. Yeah. I mean that wasn't specifically to Germany. So.
No.
Worldwide.
During the pandemic, I lived 4 blocks from a brewery. The guy who worked the window that handed you your beer, I saw him more than anybody. But the funny thing, it wasn't even just at the brewery. He'd be like on his bike, and I'd be on my bike, and he'd be jogging, and we'd see each other all the time. He was like my one lifeline. This one guy.
Yeah, but of course it's actually because of the timing, I guess, if we had been further down the road, that would have been a huge disaster. But because we were just getting started, it actually pushed us to do more and commit.
And then we got the bar. Yeah, in 2 weeks it'll be 2 years for the bar,
since the bar's
which then made it more affordable for us to produce beer and make a small profit by just producing for ourselves. Mostly, we do want to expand that, of course, but that's another stage that
we've
Part of the 5-year plan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've come through the experimental stage quite well, but now we need to ramp up some things.
You've taken hold.
Yes,
You're doing. So you're doing so you're brewing. Would you say about 250 liters at a clip? So that's a little over 2 barrels that you're doing.
Yes,
At a clip.
per week. That's what we're doing.
Per I got you. So
And some more here and there.
Yeah.
got you.
As needed.
There you go. Well, that works. And yeah, hey, wrap up. I mean, you know, if the beer is what is as good as I'm assuming it is, because Dave doesn't usually give those accolades unjustly. So
all the noises.
We saw that.
brew more. Brew more. So cool. All right, so talk about some of the beer now. Okay, so you had the bitter, obviously, or the English pale, if you want to call it. This is American pale. What are some of the other frequent styles you're doing? Are you doing any flagships, or are you just rotating everything? And
We have flagships.
This is our latest flagship.
This is our latest. This is a elevation. I'll let you do it. This is a West Coast IPA, a little lower.
Elevation, yeah, West Coast IPA.
And that's now one of our newer flagships because it was received so well, which is also a benefit of a tap room. You can really gauge an audience response or if people are drinking.
100%.
So the IPA, we have a hazy. If I said hazy to New Jersey people, they would say, no, that's not hazy. Or New England.
Hazy for Munich.
Yeah.
Hazy for Munich. It's called Secret Idaho. It's actually our bestseller. And it's not a hazy like you'd find at Trillium or what you're used to in the US.
It's not bright yellow. It's not super.
Because at the time, the market, we didn't think was ready for it. So we have some Cara Abbey and there Cara malts, a little bit of Cara Belge. We're using the wheat malt and oat malt, a little bit more body and a little less haze than typical. We've got Vic Secret from Australia, Idaho 7.
I was going to say there's obviously Idaho 7 in this beer.
Yes.
Yes. Secret Idaho.
Secret Idaho and some Falconer's Flight with we go a little bit piney. So we mix it up a bit, and it's actually become our best seller. And we brew that beer once a month, and it sells out before we brew it again.
And it's funny because I actually didn't put that. I just heard Idaho, and I went right to Idaho 7. I didn't even think about putting Vic Secret with Idaho 7. That's pretty good. Secret Idaho. I like that.
And it is good. It's got all the flavors of an East Coast IPA.
Yeah. So
even though it's a West Coast,
it's more
West Coast.
Yeah.
It's more an East Coast, yeah.
But it's got a lot of the flavors of the East Coast. That Centennial's in there, and that Centennial really gives it a West Coast character as well. But like I mentioned earlier, it's got a creamier body to it than you're used to from an American IPA. But
sure.
Yeah. So our core range is we have about 10 core: red IPA, black IPA,
Cold IPA.
Cold IPA now.
We did that for the first time last year, and that got a huge reception.
Yeah,
very nice.
Surprised us actually, because we didn't think the market here was quite ready for old IPA, but they really like it.
And now with Bob the Brewer, West Coast Pills, West Coast
that's
Pills,
getting a lot of traction.
which is
a hoppy
really
Hoppy Pills.
Yes,
All West Coast, it just means you've brought a lot of hops.
That's it.
and it's the only
What it is.
Exactly.
pseudo lager that we're doing. We're using the lager yeast at a higher temperature, goes quicker and a little bit warmer temperature. And it's also well received. We also do a cream ale often, and that's our hybrid beer for we always try to keep a beer that's lighter for the lager drinkers. And the cream ale, we're using that hybrid yeast, either the mixed yeast or lower temperature top fermenting yeast or a higher temperature bottom fermenting yeast. Right. I always try to get corn malt from the US. And that's my little play with the Reinheitsgebot. It's malted corn. The one thing about the purity law is for a lager beer, it has to be just the 4 ingredients: the barley, malted barley, of course, hops, water, yeast. Top fermenting beers, we can use
Other malted things.
other malts. So wheat malt, of course, that's Weiss beer. Oat malt, rye malt, probably corn malt doesn't fit into that, but
We're not asking.
we're a little bit liberal with the other malts.
And that's not being sent for testing.
And then we
Right.
usually
That's right.
use that beer. We use fresh perla hops often with that style from our local farmer, and we'll also make a wet hop beer with that base recipe. And yeah, a lot of people like it, especially lager drinkers. So.
Yeah, we
Very
do some
nice.
seasonals like the wet hop beer, which we do go visit the farm to get the hops straight off the vines, and then it's usually me who goes to get them, and then I bring them back here and we put them directly into the sood. But some of the other seasonals we do a chocolate stout around Christmas time. We work with a local chocolate maker.
Actual chocolate.
Yeah, who
Not just
sources
chocolate. Wow.
their beans. You know, they're a bean to bar chocolate maker. Very
Truly chocolate.
it's called Truly Chocolate, and so we've been doing this. Is what 3 years we've done the chocolate stouts with them. We do coffee beers. We are very well connected thanks to Bob the brewer, whose previous work was at a coffee roastery.
Didn't he have a TV show on for kids years ago? Oh, it was Bob the Builder.
Bob the brewer,
Yeah.
and he's connected us with all the roasters. So now we do coffee beers as events and things like that. And then we have an elderflower beer that we do every season, and we just brewed a beer with spruce tips.
Yeah.
Spruce
Nice.
tips.
I love spruce tips and beer. I do.
So we just brewed that last week.
Of course, we don't call any of those beer.
Yeah, it's not beer.
None of
Sorry.
them.
Can't be beer.
If Germany's listening.
Well, for the purpose of this show, it's beer. For the purpose of your tap room,
For
it's
the
not.
US audience, yes.
But so what you know, so obviously you said the name before, which was obviously a mouthful. Loosely translated, what would that be in English?
It's an alcoholic drink from a malt basis.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
So-
malt liquor.
malt liquor. Yeah, malt liquor. Malt liquor. Yeah. Fair enough. I got another comment on here from Brian before he commented from YouTube with a cheers, and then he just said from Facebook, you prefer I comment from Facebook? Yeah, there you go. So
Yeah, that profile pic's not as goofy, Brian.
yeah, I know. I actually do like the YouTube profile pic better than the Facebook profile. The Facebook profile pic is good.
The 20-year-old YouTube pic?
Yeah, I was going to say he's a little younger in the picture.
Not one gray hair on his
Yeah.
head in that.
No, there's a couple, but
Yeah.
on the beard. And I'm one to talk for gray hair and a beard, but that's besides the point. So anyway, all right. What events have you guys participated in? Are there beer? How many beer
I've
fests?
witnessed 2 of them already.
Well, no, I'm going to get to that in a minute. I just mean outside the brewery, like beer fest, stuff like that. I mean, are they, talk about that. Are they as big a thing in Germany, or even half as big a thing in Germany as they are in the States?
They're not as big as the US.
Right.
And especially in Munich, it's not as big.
I mean, Munich is a beer fest in and of itself, just by name, right? So,
Every building.
Biggest beer fest in the world.
Yeah.
Right.
But we participate in some smaller craft beer events in Munich or in the outside radius of Munich. Stuttgart, we were there last month.
right.
We're looking at some others now with the tap room. It kind of refocused we do less events or only local events rather than before the tap room, we would do events in different parts of Germany more often. And we're still looking at some others. Italy, for example, the Vienna Craft Beer Fest just finished. We were going to do that one, but we have our tap room celebration. And then the other brewery, Giesinger, one of the newest, bigger breweries in Munich, the only one for how many hundreds of years. They have a nice festival and support the local breweries and some of the German regional breweries. And so we'll participate in that in mid-July. So it's since we're not selling to that market so much, we don't participate too much in external events like we used to.
Fair enough.
We may ramp that up a bit though in the coming year.
Yeah. Brian had commented and he says at least 10 years younger, he said.
At least 10 years younger.
And then we also have a comment on YouTube from WD Smith 23. Any ESBs?
ESBs. The first beer we had was is it Bill Smith? Was close to an ESB. We were on we have had ESBs before, and we used a Chevalier malt and some good English East Kent Goldings.
Maurice?
And one of the biggest reasons we don't do it.
He's quoting, he's referencing Steve Miller right now.
Yeah.
But it's a style that's misunderstood in Germany. And when they see the word bitter, it's automatic, oh, I'm not going to like it. And we spend a lot of time explaining the style. And so I love it, but it's one that's hard to sell. So.
If you make a bitter and you can't sell it, I'll buy the rest of it. All right.
Yeah.
I love bitters. And I think Dave will take half of it too. So okay. Do I see a third beer there?
Yeah, there's a third beer. You guys were talking coffee beers earlier.
Yeah.
So we're drinking a coffee beer.
Yeah.
Look at the color.
Let's see the can, because this one was
I'm
this one's a
not,
can.
yeah,
Not familiar with, but
not really familiar with
I'm
that.
jealous.
So we're drinking this beer.
In Munich. Well done.
There you go, Johnny.
Here's to you.
Coastal
Thank you
Brewers.
very much. Coastal Brewers made it over to Germany. There you go.
Thank
See?
you.
They did.
This
There
is
you
a
go.
really very nice
I know. He sent me a picture of the can of Freising Tide, our Hefeweizen at Weinstefaner earlier. So obviously we're paying homage to Weinstefaner with our Hef, the name. We're Coastal Rising Tide, Freising Tide. So there you go. But
To show you the respect, I said, "You want me to bring a full can?" He goes, "Please don't."
there's absolutely no reason for anybody at Weinstefaner to taste our Hef. So I'm like,
Just bring the empty can.
just bring the
This
empty
will
can.
be a huge success here. I
Yeah.
can tell you.
Yeah, this is a great coffee
Mhm.
beers here. People love the coffee beers, and this is really nice. It's dry. It's
Oh, it's
got a
great.
great coffee aroma.
And your roaster on this one is
Roaster on this it's on right on the can. It's Turnstile Roastery. It's they're literally 3 blocks from that way from my house.
That's great.
the other side of the dog.
What's that?
The other side of the dog.
The other side of the dog. Yes, exactly.
The dog appears in the show occasionally.
Every now and then, yeah.
And it's only 6.5%, and it's a porter.
Yeah.
Love it.
So and it's a porter, yeah, 6.5%. We sat down, my business partner and I, and he's the brewmaster, Matt. He and I sat down. When we came up with the blend for this beer, we must have tasted 30 different coffees. And I mean, we literally walked out of there like,
Oh,
shaking,
it's
right?
yeah.
But we came up with a really nice blend. It's a little bit of chocolate, a little bit of nut forward, a little bit of caramel, but we're getting the flavors, the toffee and that from the caramel from the malts, and the coffee just plays right into it. It's almost like I explained to people, it's almost like you're getting a really big coffee nose, but you're getting caramel nutty chocolate milk.
Yeah, it doesn't overwhelm you at all.
With coffee, right, when you're drinking it. So
it's funny, John, watching you here. I'm trying to figure out what's glowing on John. Then I realized
it's the sun.
Oh,
It's 11:30 by you. It's only 5:30 here.
so early.
Yeah, and it's only 2:30 by Kat, and she's commenting in. So.
Yeah.
Kudos on the label, John. I like that.
Really
Thank you
nice.
very much. Appreciate it. Appreciate
I think
it.
it was here. It may have been Bill Smith. Put that comment up there, John.
Okay.
Is that our Bill Smith?
Yes.
Must be
Okay.
our.
Well, what you call it? Yeah, Bill Smith said, "Cheers, Paul."
He's a
There you go.
Englishphile even.
Yeah, and
a lot of English beers.
which we got. And Brian All just commented. He said, "At the Munich Beer Fest, there's 50 different breweries all offering Helles."
It's not a bad thing.
That's not a bad thing. I don't know whether he's like saying that tongue in cheek or if he's saying that in a good way. I'm not exactly sure. Either way, that's not a bad thing. I can go to a beer fest and drink 50 different Hellas's. I'm fine with that.
Well, I've heard also.
Oh, he said both good and bad. He said, there you go.
Yeah.
Like I talk about going to a brewery in the United States and having a Pilsner here. Here, you try the Helles first.
Yes.
And
Here
if
it's
the Helles
Hellas.
is good, then
Yeah.
everything else is good.
That's right.
Yeah, that's
This is the Hellas land
Yeah.
in Bavaria.
And actually, the true Oktoberfest only has the 6 beers.
Six
Yes.
breweries.
6 brews. Okay.
We're here.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
So only 6 of them are allowed in the Oktoberfest grounds. Of course, there's more than 6.
You were telling me that Giesinger is trying.
They're trying.
Maybe the
They're
7.
doing all the right things, and I think they will succeed.
Giesinger,
While
you think? Yeah.
he's still alive?
Yes.
While he's still alive,
Yes.
really?
Yes.
Because you said that they told him
I know.
100 years.
Yeah. Yeah. So
You just think he's going to live that long?
Giesinger started their brewery about 14 years ago, and they've expanded, with the intention and with the goal, publicly stated at all times, that they want to get into the Oktoberfest. They want to have their own tent because nobody has gotten into this fest other than the main
Since-
brewers since the beginning, I guess.
A long time
A
ago.
long time. And so they opened up a second brewery just on the border of the Munich city.
One of the birds.
They got the well water that's required. You have to have a Munich well water to provide for your Helles at Oktoberfest, and they did that.
You did that.
They're still not allowed. They're still not given the green light, but they will keep pursuing it.
They're going to keep pushing. There you go.
Yeah.
And
Then
you can name your hop.
I can name my. I just realized the sun on my face. It's not glowing off the desk. It's glowing off my hand when I hold my hand like this. It's like
Yes.
I got the sun in my hand right there.
Wow, you look like a wizard right there.
There's a beer label in there, John.
Yeah, definitely a beer opportunity.
Exactly.
We got to figure out how to make it nautical. They're all named nautically somehow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Coastal Brew Works. So
Coastal Brew Works.
There you go.
that's why they're here's Frising Tide.
I like it. Very
And
nice.
Right,
is this beer like a cold brew infusion or?
It is. Well, it is and it isn't, right? It's not a cold. We didn't make a cold brew with the coffee and then infuse it into the beer. What we actually did was it's almost like it was an infusion, but we took beer out and infused the coffee into that beer, and we just it's like a cycle. It's cycled through. It's the beer came out, cycled on the coffee and in for about 24 hours.
Wow.
It's almost like it's not exactly the same thing, but almost like it came out into a brink and over the coffee and then back in coarse ground and right over it. So yeah,
So it's like you decocted the coffee into it.
more or less cold decocted the coffee because it was after we crashed the beer. Yeah, it wasn't on the hot side. It wasn't on the fermentation side. It was.
Yeah, it's
after
really
it was
good,
crashed.
very smooth, nice coffee note, and not well balanced between the porter and the coffee. One is not taking over the other, which is
Hard.
often the problem with coffee beers.
Yes.
Yeah.
One dominates the other. But
They did a
great.
beer fest, and I think 2 people in this room, him and a bunch of our other friends, are the ones that probably kicked the keg of this. They had line.
Oh no! There were a
A
few
lot
other
of people
people there.
drank it, but I think there was like 6 of us probably drank about a quarter of that 6.
Yeah, we did. We
Yeah.
did. But, so, MPS just commented, "So proud of you guys."
Yeah.
Thanks.
Nice, Missy.
So name Missy. All right, she comments again. I can call her Missy, not MPS. There you go. There you go. I'm going to put up my other beer. By the way, I've been drinking my 3rd beer. I didn't mention that. Again, another American USA brewed German style, and it's from Phase 3 Brewing in Lake Zurich, Illinois. It's their P3 Doppelbock or P3 German style Doppelbock. I guess that's a big TTB thing. It's not a Doppelbock because it's not brewed in Germany, so it's a German style Doppelbock or a Doppelbock style. Or a Doppel style Bock. I'm not sure exactly what they need.
To be, yeah.
Double box style. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. But yeah, it's
not all the American breweries.
it's really fantastic. There you go. So
The naming convention.
Yeah. A lot of them will come out straight. Someone say this is Kolsch style, and we'll just call it Kolsch.
Yeah.
you can't. Yeah, if you're passing like in the States with the TTB and you're passing a label, whatever, you can call it whatever you want, right? But when you got to get approval for a label approval from the TTB, it has to have the style on it, and you can't just call it Kolsch a Kolsch because it wasn't brewed in Cologne, so it's a Kolsch style ale, right?
Brewery.
Right. But the thing that the argument I always made with them, right? Okay, Kolsch style, Hefeweizen style. I forget what they put on that one, but or any of them, right? German style or what you got to use the word style in there, right? Because it's not brewed in there. Even New England, right? We can't call it a New England IPA. It's a New England style IPA because New Jersey's not in New England, right? If we were in Connecticut, we can have it a New England IPA. New Jersey's in New Jersey. New Jersey is not in New England, so it's a New England style IPA. But the argument I always made with them is they made us call our Vienna lager a Vienna style lager, and they came back with this. They said because it wasn't brewed in Vienna. I'm like, you morons. A Vienna lager is because it uses Vienna malt, not because it was brewed in Vienna. Right? We actually did use Vienna malt. Is that okay? Can we call it that now?
Vienna malt, actually. But this is government.
Yeah. We have
it's people that don't know what they're not involved in it as much as the brewers and the breweries are. So they just see what they see and that's it,
We respect that. Often we've had a Flanders style red ale, but at the same time we're not saying West Coast style IPA.
Right.
And legally we cannot use the word which beer? Oktoberfest beer in Munich, at least, because that's the 6 big breweries in this area.
You can call it a Märzen though, right?
We call it a Märzen. Yeah.
Okay.
So we had a first name of Oktoberfest beer, but we had to change it because it's too. It's
because you're not one of the 6 breweries that are making the Oktoberfest beer, right?
Yeah,
because all they got to do is move their foot and they can squash them. You have no idea how close they are.
It's like the one at the grain silo can just move its foot over and just
They'll just weaken the support of one of them and it'll fall. And
honestly, that's true.
But it's an interesting topic, the naming, and I didn't realize there were laws like that.
Well, that comes down to like champagne. Right.
It's the same.
It's the same thing, but in the U.S., we're Americans. We don't care. We call it champagne.
Right.
And the French haven't sent their police over or anything for it. But, so we get.
Well, there is. I forget. I think we've had this conversation before. There is one area outside of Champagne that is legally allowed to call their sparkling wine champagne. The one is either the one vintner or I forget what, or one town or whatever it is. It's just
still in France.
What's that?
I think it's still in France.
It's in France. Yeah, no.
It's
not in Champagne. Yeah.
I forget what town it is, but
I we've had the conversation before. I forget what it was, but yeah, that just it looks like there's like they're grandfathered in, or there's a clause that they knew somebody or they did something or whatever it is. Yeah.
They knew a guy.
Right. They knew a guy. They had a friend. They got a guy. But in any event, I digress, as we do quite often on the show.
Yes.
Let's pause on a couple of things. I got a couple of questions for you while I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying this Doppelbock very much, and I'm hoping I very much am hoping you're enjoying the beer you're drinking.
We are.
Yeah, Paul's gone through this one pretty quickly, actually. Almost as quickly as I did.
There you go.
And John knows how fast I drink.
Oh, you drink pretty fast. I've been trying to keep up today. Yeah.
For us, at this time of night, after a whiskey tasting, we need a beer that's going to stand up with some body and also a little bit of a caffeine.
There you go. There you go. I'm actually going to do the opposite too. I'm going to once I finish having the beer, and the show's over early tonight. I'm actually gonna go have a little bourbon and a cigar after the show. So I'll do that. But in any event, but we do have to, and there's a reason. And unless you guys are opposed to it, we definitely should try to attempt to stay on the show for at least another 23 minutes.
Now we've had some caffeine.
Now we have caffeine. We're
just
know why.
Oh.
In any event, let's do our top 3 list. Let's do our top 3 list.
All right.
All right. I think it's time. And just so you're aware, everybody that anybody that longtime listeners, longtime viewers, and listeners of the show know why we do a top 3 list. But I'm just saying.
I did explain it to them, so you don't have to do it if you don't want to.
You did explain it to them?
Yes, I did.
All right. Well, then I won't. Then I won't.
Oh, yeah.
So in any event, okay. So we're doing a top 3 list. Here we go. Tonight's top 3. Shocker of all shockers, and we actually haven't done this list before. Tonight's top 3 list is top 3 favorite German beer styles. We've done we've done breweries, we've done some other things. We've never done top 3 favorite German beer styles. So we're going to do top 3 favorite German beer styles tonight, and we're going to start with. Should we start with Jen or Paul?
Well,
maybe we do a tag team.
I'll start.
All right. So you might tag team this, but Jen, you can start it out, and we'll go from there.
Well, I guess I tend not to like the darker beers, the stronger beers, like the Märtzens in the box. It's not
like the one I'm drinking right now.
Right. Malty. Definitely not too malty for me. So I tend to go for a Weiss beer.
Okay.
And perhaps that's due to the Munich influence. Yeah, so that's like my go-to beer for a local. And I mean, here it's
3 or 1 or. It doesn't have to be in order.
Yes.
Yeah, forget that.
I put it in as 3. I put it in as 3. So.
Yes, it's a 3.
There you go.
I will probably disappoint people because.
How so?
For my top 3 German beer styles, I'm probably not a big fan of. I like a Helles, but it's not my top style. My favorite beers would have to be from Bamberg region.
We have no problem with that whatsoever.
Okay. And they're just called a lager beer, and not necessarily the smoky beer. You had one. You stayed in Spezial, for example, and certainly Schenkler smoke beer, a black beer that's smoky for them. I can't remember the name even.
That's their Märzen.
Yeah, and
they just put out the Erla, which is the
smoked
Schwartz.
The smoked Schwartz or the Erbach.
Yeah, and as far as I do like a Helles, but it's not from Munich. It would be more like a land beer from Eric Toft is the brewer. Schönraumer Helle, for example, would be one.
That's very special.
And as a style, I would choose an alt beer or a Kolsch. But my familiarity with those beers is not very good. I've always
don't drink very many German beers, actually.
I do, but not. I still always prefer a hoppy beer, and I'm always curious what the U.S. is doing with the lager beers. I think I prefer more of a hoppy Helles, hoppy Pils. Okay. There are some coming out. But as a style, maybe they slip out of that style guide. Like the Tillman's Hoppy Pils, for example. It's a Pils, it's hoppy, it's local. But when the audience is thinking of a Pils, you're not thinking of a hoppy Pils. Right. But I think what the U.S. is doing with some of those beers and some of the craft beer breweries here now are, to me, very exciting. Though I still respect the old styles, of course, very much.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Well, don't just remember. We've had people on the show that like whatever the top 3 list we did, whether it was styles or particular breweries or whatever, if they were too partial to something, like maybe a second guest that was on the show with the main guest, if they weren't too partial to what the list was, they still have ones that they may rate in the bottom half of their top 100 list of beer styles, but as far as that list goes, it's their 3, 2, 1. That kind of a thing. So cool. I marked you down. I have you down. There you go. Jen, you have anything you want to add to your Weiss beer, or are you standing pat? You're good. Weiss beer, you're good. Fine.
I'm good. I like a lager too. I like a good Helles. More the hoppier, the better.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I like it when it's a bit herbally. Would you say like a Kreutzer? They would say here that's got a little bit of crispness and a little bit of something interesting going on. Yeah, those are my go-to German beers.
For me.
Spicy.
Nice. All right. Samurai.
Well,
How about it?
I'll give that the honorable mention. He mentioned it, the Rauch beers. And especially having been at Schwankala, had it off the cask, the Märzen off the cask, and it's like drinking Guinness in the U.S. and then going and having it in Ireland. It's night and day.
Yeah,
that is such a special beer. And if it was something I think that I could get on a regular basis, that probably would have made my list. But it's nothing I can get on a regular basis. And it's interesting listening to what your favorites on. You're looking for the hops, whereas what we're looking for in the U.S. and these styles is enough with the hops.
Yes.
We want them cleaner. So I'll get back to that more in my number 2. My number 3 is the style from the Gose. I love the Goses. I love that.
You do?
Oh, I love that little bit of salt, little bit of tang to it.
What's amazing though is that Bill Murray and Ernie Hudson and Dan Aykroyd and Howard Ramis did not like Gozer.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, as duly appointed officials of the state of New York City, they asked her to leave.
Let's leave this plane and
The Gozerian from Ghostbusters is what follow them right along.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Goza. Oh, you said Goza.
There's been many breweries in the state.
So I didn't know Goza was a style. So there.
The Gozerian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But so Goza, number 3. But 2, what we're talking about, my number 2 is a Kolsch.
Mm-hmm.
And finding an unhopped Kolsch in the U.S. That doesn't come from Köln.
Right.
Was a very hard thing to do. We hop the hell out of our Kolsches. And every time I would drink a Kolsch from an American brewery, like, that's not a Kolsch. That's not a Kolsch. That's not a Kolsch. We are now starting to see breweries brew those clean, crisp, light Kolsches that you can just sit outside and just drink all day long. No fatigue whatsoever on your palate.
Mm-hmm.
Very low impact to your mental state, other than happy. Right. So that's why it's my number 2. It's like it's just such the easiest drinking style done right.
Yeah.
And I love those. But my number 1, Schwarzbier. You love them. I love the roast, especially when you get a nice little coffee note to it.
Yeah.
There's the ones that are a little harsher, some that are a little softer, but I love them both.
Yeah, it's dry, it's black, it's not like a Munich Dunkles beer.
Yes, exactly.
Sweeter.
Real good. A little sweeter.
Total sweet.
Yes. So that's my 3, 2, 1 there, Johnny.
There you go. All right. Mine. All right. I've got 6 honorable mentions. No, I'm kidding. Literally, to be honest with you, I could say any style.
Yeah.
I'm good with. I love German beers. I love German styles. So there's nothing that you could give me that I'm going to say, nah, I don't like that. Helles lagers, Gozes, Kolsches, anything. Obviously, I'll give you like some of my honorable mentions, but I won't use them as my honorable mention. The 3 beers I had today, the Doppelbock I'm drinking now, the Dunkel I had before, the Hef. I'm a big Hef fan. I love Hefs, but to give you my honorable mention is going to be I'll echo Dave's honorable mention. That's a Rauk beer. I love smoke. I love smoke beers. The Schlenkerla smoked Schwarzbier that we did on the show was so good. I mean, it's crazy. And Urbach is amazing, and pretty much anything Schlenkerla does, or anything that comes from Bamberg, like you had said before, Paul.
The thing is with the Schlenkerla beers, those rocks come over. They've been sitting in the bottle, and that smoke really, really starts to overtake the liquid to a point.
But I'm fine with that.
Which a lot of us. He used to be a fireman, so he's used to smoke in his face. But a lot of Americans,
it evokes memories, right? No, I'm kidding.
I drank one of those last night.
You did, yeah, that's right.
And the best thing was, Jen didn't like it. So
I appreciate it, but it's just not my thing.
But to drink it in Schlenkerla,
yeah,
with the food and the food smells.
Oh, she had the Bamberg onion.
And the Bamberg, the atmosphere.
See, now you're really getting me.
No,
it wasn't just the fact that you went to Schlenkerla and you were in Bamberg. She had the Bamberg onion. I mean, I'm like, do you see the green on this side of the screen? All right.
Yeah.
Oh, that Obasta cheese.
And to drink it there on their facility in the brewery is amazing. We were there in February. With the food, the ambiance, and the people tapping a big barrel of beer right in the foyer of this giant old building, it's
everybody really out on the streets,
yeah,
leaning against the building, sitting on windowsills.
Yeah.
Which brings me back to my point. And pretty much anywhere you go, you don't need a beer fest. Everywhere is a beer fest. You're good.
Yes.
Right.
And it's
it's
definitely, if you come to Germany. Yes, Munich is great. I hope you come here, but also
Bamberg.
Bamberg is also important for beer,
and it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a number of cities I need. I have not had the pleasure of getting to Germany just yet, and I will get there, and I will be soon. I promise you that. But
a little town called Fladung.
I do have to get to Fladungen.
That's his last name. We all pronounce it Fladung, but we know the town's called Fladung, right?
Fladungen, en at the end of it. Fladungen. It's about an hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours northwest of you guys right now. But and everybody says they named a town after your family. I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure my family is named after the town. So but in any event, but anyway, so my top three, that was my honorable mention. My top three, my number three is a Weizenbach. One of my favorite beers is by far is Aventina's Tap 6.
Oh, did I not send you the picture of us drinking it yesterday, John?
No, you did not.
Schneider.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you. 2 years ago when they were
they're from Jersey, you can give me the finger over.
I know.
When I bring that up.
Well, I do that all the time. But 2 years ago when he was going to Italy, he had a stopover in Munich, and they left and they went to Schneiderweiss, and so he calls me at 7:00 in the morning here to let me know he's drinking off of Tap 6. Like
it was, and it's like this video. It's like set it up behind me, John. That is Tap 6 right there. Count the taps across. That's 6.
Yeah.
That's where this one came.
Yeah. And then he saw my finger, and then I hung up on him. But that's besides. So anyway, Weizenbach. That's my number three. My number two, I gotta echo Dave. Schwarzbier. I'm a Schwarzbier. I like to call myself a Schwarzbier whore. I am a Schwarzbier whore. Schwarzbiers and Schwarz. I'm a big Tomave Pivo fan too. Czech dark lagers. Dave, I think Tomave Pivos. He leans towards the Tomave Pivos. I lean towards the Schwarzbiers. So,
but remember, he's half German. I'm half Slavic.
Oh.
So
there you go. Makes sense. There you go. Works.
Quite a few of them starting tomorrow.
Exactly. But my number one style. I'm pretty sure Dave could tell you what my number one style is.
Yes, and I told you to stick a halt.
It's a Stickel. Yeah, Stickel. All beers are my number one by far. Not too far over Schwarzbier's or Weizenbach's, but definitely over them. Yeah, I'm a big Stickel fan. So there you go. That's my top 3. That's my list. There you go. There you go. All right. What is in store for Higgins Ale Works coming up in the near future and the far future, for that matter? Beer wise, expansion, anything, events you plan on doing, anything that's in the works, whatever, no pun intended, Higgins Ale Works. Anything that's in the works. What might that be, if anything?
I'll give the near term. Near term is our anniversary party. We're having a big party.
There you go. That's true.
Celebrating with our guests and our friends and our neighbors and the local community. We've got some games and some slow food, some barbecue food planned.
Barbecue.
Yeah.
Something you don't see.
That's something you don't see. Well, we got
from an
contacts from an American guy who smoked some brisket for us. So we're looking forward to that. That's on the 27th. We're going to do the Giesinger Fest we mentioned before. That's in the middle of July for 2 days. I think that's about it for the
near term.
Near term.
The longer term, we are looking to expand, at least increase our capacity from the brewery, sell more beer from the tap room, and we see about opening up a little bit more into the Munich audience. And then you're on a special scale there of how big you want to grow. As a single tap room, what's the next biggest step? And obviously we don't want to go to Oktoberfest. Distribution is difficult in Munich. So
I don't know what you don't want to go to Oktoberfest. Well, I don't know how you look in a dirtle.
I want to go maybe as a visitor. But
Not.
Do you have lederhosen? That's the question.
Of course.
All right, there you go.
We have enough traditional clothing to share with friends when they come.
There you
go. When the apartment gets full with visitors, they're all decked out.
They're all decked out. That's it.
For Munich, we're looking at maybe another tap room or maybe a bigger location because we have a limitation in our production facility.
Yeah, John, I sent you the picture of the production facility.
It's uncanny. So similar to a friend of ours brewery up in Waldwick.
Right.
It really
is. Really? Right. It's scary, isn't it? It looks so much like
similar.
Remember I told you that it reminded, when you're showing me down there, mine was a gear block.
Yes.
And it looks so much like gear blocks brewery facility.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's a homegrown grassroots operation, organic growth, and we're trying to ride with that wave and not go too far, too fast.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So a little bigger footprint in Munich would be our immediate goal in the next year or two.
Yeah.
Any plans on distributing out, being in cold cases or on tap in other places?
Not in cold cases, but specialty drink markets. Okay. Yes.
Restaurants maybe that cater more towards.
Yeah, I mean
the craft.
The craft beer drink markets in Munich, they're outside of Munich, in Germany, are smaller, not so many. Those are avenues that we could sell to. Certainly people outside in Stuttgart and Freiburg and some other towns we know do want our beer, and we can't make enough right now to provide it. So that's our first step to try to
fulfill.
You want to take care of local first. You want to take care of people that are looking for the beer, like habitually looking for the beer. You want to get them the beer first. That's the most important thing.
But at the same time, our tap room is half German and half tourists or people who are
expats who live here.
Germany and
or expats that live there. Yeah, exactly. I was going to say and that's great because then it's almost like a melding point of the And I'm sure there are plenty of them there, right? Obviously, there's more than you know. You guys are not the only expats in Munich, and there's a lot of Munchens that want to, connect with that particular audience, and you guys providing a facility for that to happen in.
Yeah,
right.
It's a small footprint that we have with the tap room, but it creates a really nice, friendly atmosphere that a lot of locals find so refreshing. They don't find this in many locations, and they can sit at the bar and they'll talk to the person next to them, and they leave with like this amazing experience that they don't normally find. We take it for granted, right? I mean, we understand
small tap rooms.
Yeah,
we can go in and just get a beer.
Exactly.
Right.
Place in Munchen, you're going in.
To a giant hall.
Huge hall, sitting with people you don't know who may not speak your language even.
It's usually very friendly.
Very friendly.
There too, for sure.
With wursts and pretzels and all the food.
Stop! You're making me hungry. Please stop talking.
It's not your dinner time yet. Shush.
But no, seriously though, it's exactly where I was going with that. You're where you are. Your footprint where you are is nothing but huge beer halls, right? And amazing people and amazing beer and amazing friendly atmospheres and so forth and so on. But what you're offering is something different from that. It's something that diverts from that. It's the close-knit local, come in and have a one-on-one with not just somebody that's sitting next to you at the bar, but pretty much everybody that's there. Yeah. So, and that's special.
And us.
It really is.
One of us is always here.
And they're even different from, like, say, the other craft brewery nearby, Giesinger. Where Giesinger, they don't have a bar or tables inside. They're queuing up for the beer. Outside.
Yeah. Right.
And so everyone's milling around outside. And here you can actually, like you said, sit at the bar, which is what from the United States we're used to.
That's what we're used to,
sitting at a bar.
Right. Exactly.
So it's even different from Giesinger.
Yeah.
So, which is cool because we were there and long line.
You went to the one at Victoria marked, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you told us to. Went in there, grabbed a couple beers, went outside. The Austrians didn't like them that much. Anything that's got even the slightest sweetness in it, Renee, not so hot. And their beers were a little sweeter than you're probably used to. The Austrians are probably used to. Because Austrian beer is just so bone dry. So, but no, their beer was good, but everyone was moving about. Usually
it's a great atmosphere there.
It's
really good.
Usually carried a 2-spot and shark for a seat. We stood the whole time.
Yeah, you're not
finding a seat.
That's pretty funny. There you go. Well, on that note, I would I absolutely need to take this particular point in time to pause the conversation.
You're a minute early.
All right, and be the first to say, if I may, happy birthday, Beer Samurai.
You're a minute early.
Happy no. It's 6:00 right now, so that means for that reason.
It's midnight.
It's your birthday.
It's my birthday.
Oh, happy
Germany.
birthday!
It is not my birthday at home yet.
Oh, cheers!
It's his birthday. Yes. In New Jersey, it's not his birthday yet, but where he is, it is his birthday.
It is for us.
That's correct.
Happy birthday, Beer Samurai.
We poured a fourth beer, by the way.
Yes, we did.
Talk about it. Go for it.
It's a black IPA, which is our fun beer with the local audience because it's black. People are expecting Guinness. That's what they're used to in a black beer or a Schwarz beer or something. But this is a big hop.
There's a hop bomb.
It's
very nice.
So Falconer's Flight.
Samurai, I know you know how I feel about black IPAs. So
you kind of like them.
I kind of like them.
They brewed one in the collab with another brewery in New Jersey, and it got the number one black IPA in New Jersey.
Oh,
nice!
I can't wait to try it.
Yeah,
on Untapped.
Okay,
fantastic.
When they're giving out the participation trophies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, since there was no other magazine or event that gave out the trophies for that, we'll take it. There you go.
So, we've got to take it. Any accolades.
Any accolade is fine. We do have Chuck Aaron from Jersey Girl Brewing. Happy birthday, Samurai.
Thank you, Chuck. Chuck's a good friend of the show. And he's got an anniversary.
His anniversary was this past weekend.
This
His
past weekend.
This past weekend.
He called it 8 years.
Okay, great.
So I hear it was quite a wild event.
And it was quite a wild event. That picture was taken at his event right there.
That would be Chuck there on the left.
Dave, his brewer, Dave Satola.
Okay. And all selfies John takes, he's catching flies.
And speaking of catching flies, I would like to point out that every picture I took with Brian at the beer fest on Friday night, Brian was catching flies as well. Okay,
Brian does not look like he's catching flies. I'm not gonna leave that alone.
Anyway, so once more, happy birthday, Samurai.
Happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
You enjoy this day. You enjoy today. I know you're gonna sleep the first part of it away, but
I certainly hope so. Because we've got a brew training.
What time is that training?
9:18, I think.
9:18.
Yeah, it's okay.
It
It's
should be okay.
reasonable.
It should be
It's
okay.
okay.
So a little over 9 hours from now, you're taking a train to Czechia,
Yep. To Praha.
to Praha.
Yeah, Praha.
There you go.
That's the local name for it,
Mhm.
Praha.
Yeah.
What's the first beer style you're going to look for when you get to Prague?
Actually, no. I'll go with the light pivo first, and then work to the.
You work your way to Tomave? All right.
Yeah, we're going to be at Ufleku.
Ufleku.
Cabaret, actually.
Ufleku was good. Absolutely.
And my goal, I've said this many times, my goal is to actually last that whole night without getting in trouble.
I find that very hard to believe.
It'll be birthdays.
Yeah. All right. All right. Any
I'm half Cuban.
And she's half Cuban, so
it's not. There you go.
I think she packed the knife, didn't she? No.
All right. Anything else you want to tell our viewers that are interested, or whether they're if they're in Munchen, if they're over in Germany, if they come by you, or if they're in the States that are coming over there, or just interested in what you're doing. Anything else you want to let them know that we haven't discussed about Higgins Ale Works?
Yeah, we'd be happy to host anyone who comes over here from New Jersey or the U.S. It's always a great pleasure to meet people from the U.S. Today, people from Pittsburgh were here, one of my other hometowns, and Illinois. So it's always good fun, and we also can give advice on other places. We have a craft beer map, for example, focuses you on some other craft beer places or breweries in Munich, in lieu of the big 6, which you will find anyway. And you should
Big 6, and let everybody know, what are those big 6?
Oh gosh.
Spaten, I see that one.
Spaten.
Augustiner.
Yeah. Hofbräu.
Palaner, Hofbräu.
Hackershoy.
There you go. 6. There you go. See, you're like, oh my God, and you knew him. It was fine. You did it.
We hit 3 of those.
I was very remiss, and I apologize to Kat. Kat, I hope you're still watching. I didn't put her top 3s up. I forgot to do that.
Bring it back.
Earlier.
Kat's favorite German beer styles, her top 3 are Kolsch style, as true. She says, as true Kolsch's are from Cologne. Märzen or Fest beer, and Helles lagers.
Märzens are nice.
Yeah.
I do like a Märzen from the smaller breweries. They can be superb.
I do enjoy a good Märzen. I do. Like I said, I can put any style on my top 3 list. It's fine. Basically my 3-2-1 were the 3-2-1 I gave you, and my honorable mentions were every other German beer style.
And just about every brew in the U.S. now does a Märzen.
Oh
Because of Oktoberfest. They want to cash in on that.
Mm-hmm.
If they're not doing Märzen, they're doing a Fest beer.
Mm-hmm.
Or sometimes they just call it Oktoberfest, and you got to drink it to real Märzen. It's a Fest beer.
Okay.
So, they just give the generic term, but it's almost every brewery brews that style.
There you go.
Yeah, we certainly encourage people that when they come to Munich, obviously you have to try the traditional beers too, because they are great.
Or Bamberg.
Yeah, and Bamberg. Well, a lot of beer, almost every beer fan will squeeze a Bamberg trip.
Oh, there's nowhere coming to Munchen again.
Yeah, that's definitely. And a Weinsteffen trip is also good.
Surprising, and the food.
Yeah.
So we were talking about how, because we went to Italy a couple of years ago, and almost every meal you put something in your mouth and go,
Yeah.
So good.
I need a moment. And whereas we do love German food, we had not had
Yes.
that moment.
Not.
Maybe until last.
Mhm.
The food there is.
Yeah.
We got the pork shank.
Yeah. And if it's done really well, it's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they do it exceptionally well. That was so good. But yet, not just the beer, but the food as well. And we had a great time. Our tour guide was from State College, Pennsylvania.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Was that this guy?
There he is, right there. There's Adam.
And what's that he's holding? What?
He's holding the Frising Tide can.
Oh,
Yes, yeah.
Great.
nicely done.
So yeah, he was great. He told us we can't take pictures of any of the employees. I'm like, well, what about you? He goes, I don't care.
Well, that's because he's from State College, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, so you don't care.
And in State College, he's used to, well, never mind.
As long as the Nittany Lions are winning, he doesn't care.
Well, that's my point. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We want to thank you as well for having us on the show.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This is a blast.
Everybody from New Jersey. This is really fun for us, especially speaking English.
Yeah.
I can
I'm
only
trying to
say-
do some of these in German. It hasn't gone quite as
I
far.
got. You know what? I actually was going to ask you that before, and I didn't ask you. How good is your German in 20 years in Germany? Is it 20? Is it 20 years in Germany good, or is it?
No.
less?
No,
No.
it's unfortunate, but not. But we certainly get by. And
Yeah.
to build a brewery in German and the laws, it's
We had to. We're learning all the time. It never.
Yeah.
It never ends. It's
Well,
an ongoing education.
Of course.
Yeah.
So yeah, for the last probably 2 months on the show, there's been at least 2 or 3 words spoken by Samurai in German. So he's been he's a big. Was it Babel, Rosetta Stone? What is it you're using every time you?
I'm using Duolingo, and
Okay.
our waitress at Lions Stefan didn't speak much English, and so when it was time to end, I said, "Okay, let me try this," and I said, "Ich möchte mit Karte zahlen,"
Well done.
and she big smile. Said, "Oh my God, he spoke German."
And then she started talking back to you, and you were like, "Huh?"
And I apparently agreed to pay her 500% as a tip.
yeah, that's good.
It's like, "Thank you so much."
Feeling Dank.
The smaller towns outside of Munich than you.
Yeah.
Yeah, in
German
Bamberg,
local.
you have to know a little bit.
Mhm.
You've got to at least be able to order, say it's we're done, time to pay, thank you, please, goodbye. You know, just
Where is the bathroom?
Yeah.
yes, wo ist die Toilette? That's the
Yeah.
first thing Harry learned. right?
Toiletten, yeah, toiletten.
Wo ist die Toilette? So yeah, there's a few things that I made sure I learned before I got here.
Mhm.
So I got to use some of it,
It's good. Sounds good.
but trying to hear
And what is the word you use when somebody offers you a Budweiser?
there is pizza.
I just say 9.
Or nine.
9.
You at least be Budvar.
Or Scheisse.
Oh, if somebody offered me a Budvar, I'd take it.
Yeah.
I don't want. Yeah. So anyway, exactly.
That's why we don't have that.
The one thing I did learn is, and I've been hearing it a lot of the Germans curse in English.
They do.
They curse in English
Yeah.
because I wanted to know what the German word was for fuck, and apparently it's. I just hear.
I love how he said it fine in English, but
Yeah.
in German he whispered it. It was a whisper.
I heard someone on a train, conversation, German back and forth, and the one went, "Holy shit!" I'm like, "What?" And so I know they'll say "Scheisse," but I hear shit more than "Scheisse."
Yeah. It's changing. It's
I'll
getting
say
much
Shiza
more.
more than
Holy
Yeah.
Scheisse. Holy Scheisse.
But yeah, I
Wasn't that? Sorry. I'm going there again. I'm sorry.
No, but
wasn't
yeah,
that wasn't that a Dio song? Holy Scheisse.
No, it's
That was Holy Diver.
Holy Diver. Yes. But yeah, I noticed that the Germans converse a lot in English, not in German. And the one thing, maybe you can explain this. A lot of times when people are leaving, because we're in Italy, they say ciao.
Here too.
Yeah, that's what we're hearing here. It's like, why are they saying ciao?
It's cool.
Because it's cool.
It's we're pretty close to Italy as well.
Yeah.
And ciao is
And I'll say this because I'm half German, half Italian, and I live in the United States. And ciao is one of those words that's transcendent. It's just cool anywhere.
True, but still,
Ciao.
we heard it in Bamberg.
Oh, did you?
They were saying in Bamberg, in Brausium,
Okay.
it's a hard. It's like, you sure you spelled it right? I know what you're going for, but you just spell it right. But the waiters, when people are leaving, they're like, ciao.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
it is the international.
Yeah. Everyone knows what it means,
Yeah.
but I was surprised to hear it. I was surprised to hear ciao.
I want to ask somebody from a different country, not necessarily Germany, but in general, somebody saying ciao as a cool word to say goodbye, right? Do they spell it CAIO or do they spell it CHOW? You know?
Well, you mean like if it was like Macau,
Right.
they say ciao, would it be?
Yeah.
Would it be CHAU? Like ciao down.
It could be CHAU, yeah, sure.
It was
Anyway. All right. Stick around, don't go anywhere. I want to talk a little bit. And I know it's late over by you. It's already 12:15. Samurai, you got to be on a train in 8 hours and 45 minutes.
Yeah, don't remind me. So
Yeah, so
and finish packing.
any parting words, Jen, Paul?
Ciao.
Cheers is the way they say it.
I gotta love it. That's
Thank you
great.
so much, guys. Everyone
Thanks, everyone.
who
Oh, thanks so much for
it was
coming
really
on.
fun to meet you, and I feel like we've known you. And we look forward to seeing more episodes. And thanks for giving us this opportunity to
visiting
Say
in New Jersey. Hopefully next time we're back.
You gotta let us know.
Absolutely. No, we'll definitely discuss that in about a minute.
It's coming here.
In
We'll
about a
talk.
minute. Okay.
Get the Higgins.
yes.
You gotta get the
If you say
Yeah,
lager room guys when you come to Higgins.
Higgins.
There you go.
Careful.
There you go.
There.
And you'll have a lot to talk about. There you go. You'll have a lot to talk
Our
about.
friends in Jersey.
We'll give you a warm handshake.
All right.
So
All
we
right.
say, what were we saying?
Anyway.
Oh, so we get that. Wir sprechen kein English.
There you go.
There you go.
All right.
Say that to them.
Oh.
And they'll walk out.
All right. On that note, we will wrap the show up for today. We want to thank everybody for watching. And for those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thank you for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.lagerroom.com. That's LAGERROOM.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course, our YouTube channel. All of them are at The Lager Room. Remember, we go live with the video podcast on Facebook, YouTube, X, which used to be Twitter, and Twitch every Tuesday night around 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, except for tonight. It was earlier because it was later there in Germany. And for those of you who just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on our audio host, Spreaker, as well as iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Odyssey, Audible, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music Podcast, TuneIn, Podcast Addict, CastBox, Deezer, Podchaser, Listen Notes. Pretty much anywhere you can find an audio podcast, you'll find the Lager Room Guys Craft Beer Podcast. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one of those feeds and you will never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. Samurai, once again, happy birthday.
Happy
Thank
birthday.
I'm glad you're enjoying Germany. I hope you enjoyed Czechia, and we'll see you back next week. You'll be back in home base doing the show from jet lagged because you're getting back the night before. So
Getting back on Saturday. Actually.
you what?
Getting back on Saturday. So
I thought you were getting back on Monday. Okay, so you'll be over the jet lag by then. You'll be fine. So anyway, enjoy. We'll talk to you soon, folks. Have a great weekend. Drink a lot of beer, but drink responsibly, and we'll talk to you soon, folks. Take care.
Bye.
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Prost.
Gross.